Okay, I'm going to give you a little theory of evolution. So let's imagine the first single-celled organism. Now, exactly why that single-celled organism came to be, why it emerged, maybe we don't exactly know, right? But take a single-celled organism and let's say that it gets its energy from sunlight through photosynthesis, right? So as that single-celled organism replicates, it basically becomes a microbial mat. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a patch of algae or a patch of moss. It's basically a collection of similar single-celled organisms. But now imagine that microbial mat, that those single-celled organisms replicate to the point where the top layer blocks the sunlight, it blocks the energy from the bottom layer. That bottom layer can't get energy. That bottom layer is going to die off. So now, if you look at, say, imagine the layer above the bottom layer, like the middle layer, that layer is going to be forced to evolve in order to survive. Otherwise, the top layer is just going to take all the energy from the sun, block it out, and it's going to die. So that middle layer now has to evolve, adapt to feed on the dead organic matter of the bottom layer. Okay? And eventually, it's going to evolve to feed on the live organic matter. It's going to evolve to feed on the top layer. And this is basically how evolution works. If you fast forward a billion years on a macro scale, you're basically looking at trees. You have a top layer of really tall trees that are, and the canopies are blocking out the sunlight from all the undergrowth beneath. But that undergrowth still thrives because it has evolved to extract energy in other ways. Maybe not directly from sunlight. Now, it does probably still get some, right? Some energy from sunlight, but if you fast forward again another billion years, you have insects, right, that are feeding on the bottom layer. You have humans walking around. You have basically you have herbivores that learn to feed on the plants. You have omnivores that learn to feed on the plants and animals, and carnivores that feed just on the animals, right? So if you imagine where the human role comes in play here, basically we have evolved into omnivores, and life evolves to feed on any kind of energy that it can get. So anything in its environment, any source of energy in its environment, it's going to evolve to feed on. Okay, it must in order to survive. So if you imagine a human, well, what do humans do? Well, we turn the energy we take and we turn it into both physical energy, and we also turn it into conscious energy. Now, conscious energy is physical energy, right? But what is the implication here? Okay, if we have conscious energy, the implication is that something is going to evolve to feed on that conscious energy. Okay, life evolves to feed on whatever kind of energy is around it. So you could say that there's very, very likely a life form that will evolve to feed on our conscious energy. Okay, so when you eat a plant or an animal, when you eat, basically you take the micronutrients and the macronutrients out of that animal, and you take what you want out of it, and you organize it in such a way that creates life for you, that builds your body or whatever. Now, if you imagine a higher evolved creature that feeds on conscious energy, you could imagine that there is an alien-like creature that is feeding on our conscious energy. And the way it does that is by taking the parts that it wants, in the same way we take the micro and macronutrients that we eat to help us survive. You can imagine that there's an alien creature that is taking our conscious energy, and it is forming it into, and it is taking what it wants from us, from that conscious energy, and discarding the rest, in the same way that you poop out the stuff your body doesn't want. So to think that we are at the top of this circle of life, okay, to think we're at the top of the food chain, it's just ignorant. You're not thinking about the whole picture here. What these alien creatures would look like that feed on our conscious energy, it's hard to say. Okay, maybe they're not physical. Maybe they don't have physical bodies in the way we think of it at all. Maybe they are entirely conscious life. Maybe they're just conscious energy fields, and this is really hard to grasp if you are stuck in this egoistic mindset where we are the most intelligent creature to ever walk the face of this earth. If something was feeding on our conscious energy, do you think it would want us to know about it? I mean, if in the same way that like we grow crops, we genetically modify animals and crops to yield better crop yields, right? To yield more energy for us. We could just be a genetically modified animal that is designed to create conscious energy that can be harvested. And I expect this is exactly the case. But here's the thing, okay? This doesn't mean that it's necessarily this alien this alien creature that feeds on our conscious energy is malicious, okay? Because we create life and we let it thrive in order to provide energy for us, okay? This is just how it works. We're all dependent on this intertwined energy field that is increasingly diverse as time goes by. Like I said, if it starts out as a single-celled organism, that lack of diversity is forced into diversity, okay? So it's not necessarily that this alien that's eating our consciousness, it's not to say that they want to just kill us, right? They need us to survive, right? They're feeding on us. So we could just be a farm on one planet that an alien creature is harvesting. And you think about that and you're like, oh, it might make you scared, it might make you fearful, it might make you anxious, but it's not like that, okay? Again, we're just one part in this giant ecosystem of life. And it's actually kind of beautiful, because what that means is, in the same way that you tend to your chickens or tend to your crops, there might be a much more intelligent alien that is tending to us. And I mean, if for example, the original microorganism, the original single-celled organism rather, became too dominant, it would be forced. It's forced to diversify itself. Okay, the other life forms around it are forced to evolve. So if we became too dominant, then what would happen is nature, whether by means of this higher life form and the lower life forms, it would force us to become less dominant. It would force us to basically not devolve, but it would depopulate us. We need to take this logic and think about it, because if we separate ourselves from nature, what happens is nature's going to throw us out, okay? And it might be the higher life form throwing us out, or the lower life forms, more likely a combination of both. So this naturopathy that a lot of people call pseudoscience, and this naturalistic fallacy that we say, it's not a fallacy. We have to be one with our environment, or that environment will throw us out. And the universe, this is just how how life evolves in the universe. We have to have this symbiosis with the environment around us. Okay, so just a little, not even food for thought for food. Okay, thanks for watching.